Your airplane tray table is 10 times dirtier than the toilet flush button in the lavatory. Stop. That plastic surface where you eat your expensive snacks is a playground for bacteria that would make a hospital janitor shudder. Most airlines will never tell you this, but they are playing a high-stakes game with your health to keep their planes in the air longer. The system is rigged to favor quick turnarounds over deep cleaning. You are walking into a pressurized tube filled with microscopic threats. But you don't have to be a victim. You have 13 rules to survive this high-altitude gauntlet and keep your dignity, your health, and your money. Here is Rule 1 of 13. Rule 1 of 13. When Michael, a 31-year-old architect from Phoenix, PHX, sat down for his 6-hour flight, the cabin looked pristine. He pulled out a turkey sandwich and placed it directly on the plastic tray table to organize his bag. He thought the cabin was sanitized. Michael was dead wrong.
The airline won't tell you this, but those tables are rarely deep cleaned between flights. Turnaround times are so tight that crews often only have time to pick up visible trash. A study by Travel Math found that tray tables harbor an average of 2,155 colony-forming units of bacteria per square inch. Compare that to the flush button, which only had 265. That is nearly a 10-to-1 ratio of grime. We are talking about everything from the common cold to drug-resistant MRSA sitting right where you eat. Stop. Never let your food or your utensils touch that surface. Carry a small pack of 70% alcohol wipes and give that tray a thorough scrub the moment you sit down. If you forget the wipes, use a napkin as a physical barrier. Reality check. Deep cleans usually only happen once a day or during overnight stays. The rest of the time, you are sitting at a desk that has seen a dozen different travelers since its last real scrub. Michael survived his meal, but the tray is a minor concern compared to the liquid danger in Rule 2, the tank water warning. Rule 2 of 13. Avoid the onboard coffee and tea at all costs. Levi, a 28-year-old software developer, sat at his gate in Prague, PRG, craving a caffeine fix. He decided to wait until he was in the air to save a few dollars. He watched the flight attendant pour a steaming cup of brown liquid and took a grateful sip. But then he noticed the crew was only drinking bottled water. They wouldn't touch the coffee pot. The airline won't tell you this, but that water comes from the plane's internal potable water tank. These tanks are buried deep in the fuselage and are notoriously difficult to clean. An EPA study found that 1 out of every 8 planes tested positive for coliform bacteria. If coliform is present, other nasty bugs like E. coli might be lurking there too. Stop. The pipes in the tanks can grow a thin layer of biofilm over time that is resistant to basic rinsing. Stick to sealed cans or bottled water that you see the attendant open in front of you. Levi felt his stomach churn when he realized the truth. Most crews bring their own drinks for a reason. It is a common-sense safety move that the airline hopes you don't notice. But a dirty tank is nothing compared to the bacteria sponge waiting under your feet in Rule 3. The carpet trap. Rule 3 of 13. Eleanor, a 54-year-old librarian, kicked off her sneakers the moment she settled into seat 14B at Philadelphia, PHL. She wanted to feel the comfort of home during her long-haul flight. Halfway through the journey, she padded toward the lavatory, wearing nothing but her thin cotton socks. This was a massive mistake. The airline won't tell you this, But airplane carpets are rarely shampooed or deep cleaned.
We are talking about years of spilled sodas, tracked-in dirt from 50 different international cities, and worse, bodily fluids that didn't quite make it into the toilet bowl. Those socks are now sponges for every germ on that floor. Stop. Never walk around the cabin without shoes, and especially never enter the lavatory in just your socks. That liquid on the floor? It probably isn't water. Always keep your shoes on or use sturdy travel slippers with a rubber sole. Eleanor spent her first night in Philadelphia, PHL, scrubbing her feet with antiseptic soap and a heavy dose of regret. The cabin floor is basically a public sidewalk at 30,000 feet. It is a cheap comfort that can lead to an expensive infection. But the floor is just the beginning. Your neighbor is coughing, and you think you're breathing their germs. Rule 4. The HEPA shield will change how you look at every breath. Rule 4 of 13. Mila, a 41-year-old real estate agent, sat in row 24 at Miami, MIA, staring nervously at the passenger 2 seats away who was coughing into his hands. She pulled her sweater over her nose, convinced she was inhaling a concentrated cocktail of recycled viruses. She held her breath until her chest hurt. The airline won't tell you this, but they are actually banking on your ignorance to sell you premium wellness features. Stop. The air you're breathing is likely cleaner than the air in your own office or the grocery store. Modern aircraft use high-efficiency particulate air, or HEPA, filters. These systems are identical to the ones used in hospital operating rooms and trap 99.9% of bacteria and viruses. The air in the cabin is completely refreshed every 2 to 3 minutes through a 50-50 mix of fresh outside air and recirculated, filtered air. Mila spent her whole flight in a state of high-altitude anxiety for no reason. The system is rigged to keep the air safe, even if the person next to you is sick. The real danger isn't the air, it's the surfaces. But clean air won't help you if both people flying the plane are sick. That brings us to Rule 5, the pilot's secret menu. Rule 5 of 13. Grayson, a 36-year-old chef from Rome, FCO, was boarding his flight when he caught a glimpse into the galley. He saw the captain receiving a tray of glazed salmon while the first officer was handed a bowl of beef ravioli. Grayson thought it was just a matter of personal preference, but it was actually a calculated survival tactic. Over 90% of major airlines enforce a strict culinary segregation in the cockpit. They won't tell you this, but they live in constant fear of food poisoning. Think about the risk. If both pilots eat the same contaminated shrimp risotto and fall ill at 35,000 feet, the plane becomes a ghost ship. Stop. To ensure redundancy, the pilots must eat different meals from different batches. If the captain chooses the steak, the first officer is often restricted to the chicken or pasta. While the FAA doesn't strictly legislate this, it is a mandatory part of the Flight Operations Manual for almost every major carrier. It is a simple, effective way to ensure that at least one person is always capable of manning the controls. Grayson sat in his seat feeling much safer about his own meal choice. But safety is only the start. Your pilot is awake now, but that changes in Rule 6, the high-altitude nap. Rule 6 of 13. Isabella, a 25-year-old social worker, was settling into her seat at Atlanta, ATL, for a red-eye flight. 5 miles above the ground,
she saw a flight attendant slip into the cockpit carrying a pillow and a heavy blanket. Isabella froze in her seat. She wondered if anyone was actually flying the plane. The terrifying reality is that one of the pilots was going to sleep.
But before you reach for the call button, understand that this is a life-saving protocol known as controlled rest. The airline won't tell you this because they fear the optics of a napping crew. They are banking on your ignorance of modern safety procedures. Stop. This isn't a lapse in discipline. It is a tactical strike against pilot fatigue. During long-haul flights, one pilot is permitted to take a 40-minute nap while the other remains fully alert and in control. This prevents the dreaded micro-sleep during the most dangerous phase of the flight, the landing. A rested pilot is a safe pilot. Isabella eventually saw the captain emerge, looking refreshed for their 2 a.m. arrival. While it feels wrong to have a pilot sleeping on the job, it is a standard safety feature used worldwide to combat exhaustion. But even a rested pilot can't stop a bolt of lightning from hitting the wing. That leads us to Rule 7, the lightning shield. Rule 7 of 13. Avery, a 47-year-old scientist, leaned against the cold window at San Francisco, SFO, watching gray clouds swallow the runway. Suddenly, a blinding white flash turned the sky into a strobe light. A massive bang, loud as a cannon blast, rocked the entire fuselage. Avery's heart hammered against their ribs. You would think the electronics would fry, or the fuel tanks would ignite. They don't. The airline won't tell you this, but nearly every commercial jet is struck by lightning at least once a year. The system is rigged to keep you calm while the sky tries to tear the plane apart. You aren't in a fragile tube. You are inside a massive lightning rod designed to survive. The aluminum skin of the aircraft acts as a Faraday cage. Stop. The electrical current hits the nose or wingtip and exits through the tail without ever touching the cabin or the passengers. Engineers zap these planes with millions of volts in laboratories to ensure the fuel lines and computers stay silent during a strike. Science beats the storm every time. Reality check. A strike might leave a tiny pit in the middle, but it won't crash the jet. Avery landed back at San Francisco, SFO, with a wild story and a new respect for aerospace engineering. You survived the lightning, but you might not survive the $400 mistake you make during boarding. Rule 8. The sardine can secret is the only thing standing between you and a ruined back. Rule 8 of 13. Carter, a 32-year-old teacher, was flying home from Lisbon, LIS, on a massive Boeing 777. He expected a wide-body jet to feel spacious, but row 42 felt like a cage. This is where they screw you. The airline won't tell you this, but they have been quietly shrinking seat widths from 18.5 inches down to a cramped 17 inches. They profit from the extra row of seats while you lose your comfort. Stop! Don't be a victim of the 3-4-3 seating layout. On many Boeing 777s, airlines have moved from 9 seats across to 10. Always check the seat map before you book. Use specialized sites like Aerolopa to see the actual cabin layout rather than the generic map on the airline's website. If you see 10 seats across on a 777, you are in for a tight squeeze. Carter spent 7 hours with his shoulders pinned back because he didn't check the configuration. Legroom is a test of your patience, but seat width is a test of your sanity. Reality check. Airlines can change equipment at the last minute, so always have a backup plan.
politeness at the gate might get you a better seat, but usually you are stuck once the doors close. But cramped legs are nothing compared to the panic when the masks drop. Rule 9. The 15-minute clock is a race against the atmosphere. Rule 9 of 13. Your airplane does not carry oxygen tanks for passengers. Not a single one.
Most travelers assume those yellow masks are hooked up to a central supply hidden in the ceiling. They aren't. When Ella, a 39-year-old dentist flying out of Orlando, MCO, saw the panels pop open during a sudden decompression, she expected a refreshing flow of air. Instead, she smelled something burning. Panic set in immediately. But that smell is a sign the system is working. Inside that small overhead compartment is a chemical oxygen generator, often called an oxygen candle. The airline won't tell you this, but when you tug on the mask, you trigger a small chemical reaction that creates oxygen through heat. This reaction only lasts for about 15 minutes. Stop. It sounds like a terrifying countdown, but 15 minutes is plenty of time. A pilot can dive a jet from 30,000 feet down to 10,000 feet, where the air is thick enough to breathe, in about 5 minutes. Reality check. The heat from the canister and the faint smell of scorched metal are normal. Put your mask on first, breathe normally, and let the pilots do their job. Science works, and panic fails. You survived the thin air, but your seat choice might be your next big mistake. Rule 10. The safest seat myth puts you in the wrong row for all the wrong reasons. Rule 10 of 13. Look at the seating chart before you click confirm. Most travelers instinctively rush for the front rows to get off the plane faster, but that choice is a gamble. When Hazel, a 63-year-old nurse from Charlotte, CLT, was booking her flight, she almost paid an extra $60 for row 4. She wanted to beat the rush. The airline won't tell you this, but they love selling that convenience, while the safest spots sit empty in the back. Hazel thought she was being efficient, but she was choosing the highest risk zone. They profit while you take the risk. If you want the best chance of survival in the rare event of a crash, you need to head to the back. Stop. Data from decades of flight records reveals that the rear third of the plane has a 44% lower fatality rate compared to the front. Middle seats in the back are statistically the safest spot on the entire aircraft. The tail section is built like a sturdy cage and often remains intact while the nose takes the brunt of the impact. Hazel saw the back rows were nearly empty at Charlotte, CLT, and switched her seat immediately. She saved $40 and increased her safety margin for free. Subscribe to beat the system. But even a safe seat won't help you when the airline tries to kick you off the plane. Rule 11. The bumping payday is your secret weapon. Rule 11 of 13. Henry, a 52-year-old lawyer, stood at his gate in Minneapolis, MSP, watching the board flash red. The flight was overbooked. The gate agent announced they were looking for volunteers to take a later flight in exchange for a $200 travel voucher. Henry's hand shot up immediately. He thought he was winning, but he was actually signing away his rights for pennies. The airline won't tell you this, but they profit when you take the first offer. Stop. If the airline bumps you involuntarily, the Department of Transportation, DOT, has strict rules. You might be eligible for up to $1,550 in cash, not just a restrictive voucher.
This applies if the airline can't get you to your destination within 2 hours of your original arrival. Henry could have stayed quiet and waited. Always ask if the bump is voluntary or involuntary. If it's involuntary, demand your check on the spot. Keep in mind that if you volunteer, you're playing by their rules. However, being the last person to volunteer often drives the price up, sometimes to over $1,000 in cash. Henry ended up with a voucher he couldn't use on holidays. Next time, he'll wait for the real money. But vouchers are small change compared to the automatic refunds coming in Rule 12.
Rule 12 of 13. Have you ever sat on a cold airport floor at midnight, refreshing an app for a refund that never arrives? Alexander, a 22-year-old student, was living this nightmare at Austin, AUS. His flight home was pushed back indefinitely. The gate agent told him to check the website for a voucher, hoping he wouldn't know the new rules. The system is rigged to keep your cash in the airline's pocket. Stop. As of 2025, the rules have shifted in your favor. You don't have to beg or fill out endless forms anymore. If your domestic flight is delayed by more than 3 hours, or your international flight by more than 6, the refund is now automatic. No paperwork and no hours spent on hold with customer care. Alexander didn't say a word. He simply didn't board the delayed plane. According to the latest Department of Transportation mandates, airlines must return your money to your original payment method within 7 business days. This applies to the full ticket price and any prepaid fees like checked bags or Wi-Fi. While airlines might still try to offer you travel credits first, they are banking on your ignorance of the cash option. Alexander saw $450 back in his account before he even got a taxi home. But getting your cash back is easy compared to the privacy nightmare in Rule 13, the biometric shift. Rule 13 of 13. Did you know that by 2026, the traditional paper boarding pass will be an endangered species? Evelyn, a 45-year-old designer, found this out the hard way while rushing through Raleigh, RDU. At her gate, she noticed sleek cameras scanning every passenger's face instead of scanning barcodes or checking IDs. The airline won't tell you this, but they want your biometric data stored in a database you don't control. They are banking on your convenience-fueled ignorance. Stop.
In the United States, participation in these facial recognition programs is generally voluntary for U.S. citizens. You have a legal right to opt out. When Evelyn reached the terminal agent, she didn't look into the lens. Instead, she politely requested a manual document check. The agent verified her physical ID, and she was through in 20 seconds. Opting out won't get you on a no-fly list. It just means a human does the job instead of a machine. It takes a few extra seconds, but your privacy stays yours. Your face is not a barcode. If you don't know these rules, the airport will take your money and your data every time. The airlines hate that you know these secrets. Hit subscribe to keep winning and stay one step ahead of the system.